G'day, ZiggyD here, and welcome to my first look at the early access for DeathTrap. Now, this game is going to look quite familiar to some of you guys in terms of the aesthetics and the audio, which is awesome, by the way. And that is because it comes from the developers of The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 1 and 2, which is an indie-made action RPG that I have covered on my channel in the past, and they did pretty reasonably well. They had some unique mechanics about them, were quite beautiful games, and were a good amount of fun to play for a while. So in The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 1, there was a little side quest that had you kind of defend your base against attacking waves of enemies, and it was kind of like a tower defense minigame. Now, that game was an action RPG, and this was just kind of like a little side, a little side distraction. However, many people loved that mode and requested heavily of the developers to expand upon it, and then when Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 2 came out, they expanded upon it quite a bit, and it became this kind of like longer running thing that ran sort of parallel to the campaign that you could go in. It was still kind of optional and still not fully fleshed out, but it was still kind of an interesting thing, and still I think people couldn't get enough of it. So the developers heard this and they decided to make a standalone version of the tower defense game from The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing. Now, the game does seem to be, it doesn't really shove it in your face, but it does seem to be set in kind of the same universe. I mean, we've got these floating kind of worlds here, which is kind of like the ink zones in The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing, and the audio, a lot of the monsters, a lot of the landscapes and everything are all very similar to that game. So if you're a fan of those, which I think like the landscapes and the setting, the kind of mixture of fantasy and steampunk stuff was one of my biggest appeals for Van Helsing. So I'm glad to see another game that kind of explores that a little bit more. Now, this game is a tower defense action RPG hybrid. So they toned back the action RPG elements a little bit from The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing and fleshed out the tower defense side of things a little bit more. So if you're a fan of that side game, then you're probably going to be a fan of this as well. Now, I'm going to go into one of my favorite. There's currently in the early access 5 zones, I believe. This is all I've been able to discover, and you can play through each of the different zones, and they're kind of like missions. They have like 3 or 4 waves in them. You have to survive each of those. Now, there's going to be a bunch of different game modes from the looks of things. There is the campaign, which is only available at the moment so far that I've found, but it looks like there's going to be scenario modes and even endless horde modes. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into this Forest of the Fallen map just here on hard, and you'll see that I've gotten 2 out of 3 stars. To unlock 3 stars on your current tier, you need to play it on hard, and you need to beat it on hard without taking any damage to your gateway, essentially, so don't let any creeps past your towers. So you have to play well, basically. The reason I haven't gotten 2, you'll see in just a short while, but you can see here there's a bunch of different tiers as well, so there's potentially going to be quite a lot of replayability in this game, because not only do you have to try and get 3 stars on your current tier, but there's a lot of extra tiers that you can try and do as well, which I imagine kind of level scale to higher levels. Since they're all just tagged as a level 100 yet, I think it's because it's not fully implemented, but that's something we might be able to explore in the future. So I think rather than explaining everything about this game, let's jump in and I'll show you guys some of the actual gameplay first, and then we'll take a look at some of the other kind of meta-gamey aspects, so like the extra stuff like gearing up, because there is action RPG style gear in it. And as you can see, we have our character just here, just as you'd expect from an action RPG. You run around, you have a bunch of different abilities, you can attack, you can use, like I have this teleport kind of freezing ability, and I have some other skills that kind of work with my traps. For example, this one here is a trap boost. I can target that on a trap to power it up, and then Touch of Death is a map-wide curse that makes things take more physical damage. So, you'll see here on the map that we have 2 spawn points here, and we can see some things that are going to spawn from those. And there's our gateway. So our objective is to defend this gateway just here. Now, scattered around the map to assist you in defending things, we have these different build points. So different build points can construct different things. This is a mechanical build just here. You can see mechanical tower just here. You can see by all the cogs and things like that that it is mechanical, and we can build 2 different things here. We can build a gun sentry and a razor launcher. You can unlock different towers and stuff. I'll go over that after we finish this mission, and I'll show you off how you unlock different things. There's also kind of these like arcane style towers here, which you can build magical style towers, and then there's different ground trap points as well. Like this is a mechanical trap point. We can build a spike trap or an acid geyser. There is an arcane one here, and there's also in some areas kind of these monster traps as well, which you can actually summon things. So this is probably what I'm going to start off here. I'm going to build a monster cage, which summons kind of like a werewolf to help defend, and that'll interrupt the mobs that spawn. And then I can get various upgrades, which I've had to purchase outside of the map So I'm going to upgrade this to release more than one monster. So we have we'll make it release 3 monsters, and that's spending my essence over there on the right hand, which is your resource. You start off with a certain amount of essence. You can start off with more through various perks and things like that, but otherwise you get more essence by killing things in the map. So we've upgraded that a little bit there. I've gotten 3 monsters. That's probably going to be enough to hold us off for now. And then I'm going to probably upgrade this point just here. There's a mechanical trap just here. I've put a bit of investment into gun sentries, so I'm going to grab one of these guys here. I'm going to give it some splash, so it has 2 meter AoE tied to it now, whereas before it was single target. I'm going to increase its damage and I'm going to apply a slowing effect. Now I'm investing pretty heavily into a single tower here, so I probably need something that's going to help synergize with this a bit. So what I'm going to do is going to chuck down an acid geyser there. It takes me down to 49. I don't think I can afford anything else. No, I'm 1 essence off being able to afford another acid geyser. That's fine. What I'll do is I'll just upgrade the physical vulnerability effect of this acid geyser here, which causes them to take enemies to take more physical damage when they get splashed by the acid. So I'll upgrade that there, and that'll cause this gun sentry, which is a physical damage. You can see it says tower mechanical physical damage. That'll cause enemies that are splashed to take more damage from that tower. So there's a lot of interesting interactions between towers, your abilities, tower upgrade effects, and different types of things that you can build, so you can combo a lot of different things together. So for example, we could have just straight up things like lava grill. We could have something like a stasis trap that freezes enemies. There's lots of different things we can do here. And you'll also notice that certain tower types have strong versus weak versus. So this is strong versus big single targets, but weak versus hordes, because they tend to get through and not many of them get splashed by the acid. Now, to sort of plan, to help you with the planning aspects and like where do you put down your towers, you can actually take a look at what things are going to spawn on the next wave. And if we actually click on them here, we can see a bit more detailed info about each of the different things that are going to spawn. We can see their abilities, their speed, how many points they'll destroy if they reach your gate, which you don't want to happen anyway, and then any other effects. So we can see this is a horde type monster, so there's going to be a bunch of these spawning, and you see they're vulnerable by splash type traps. And then, you know, these ones, like, these are average against all trap types, have no real weaknesses, and you'll see a bunch of different info there, which is quite handy. Now, what kind of sets this is like pretty all standard tower defense sort of stuff. It seems to be pretty well fleshed out, even this early on in the early access. There's a lot of interesting strategies and combos you can employ. But what I think sets this game apart as well is the fact that they kind of like really infuse a lot of these action RPG elements. You can see I have a geared up character here. I have different character skills that I can upgrade outside of these missions, and also I can use this teleporter here to go off into the wilderness. And there's like all these different wilderness areas around here. You can see on the map I'm just like completely away from the tower defense. I can actually like farm bosses and chests and stuff. So I can only do this while a wave is in effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the battle. I'm going to try and kill this guy as quickly as possible, grab his loot, and then get back and defend before our gateway takes any damage, because we can't stay AFK from the battle for too long, because they will get past our towers, especially you know, before we have our defenses fully figured out. So I'm going to start the battle here, and let's give this a go. So we have this lumbering beast. This is kind of like a mini boss just guy here. You can farm gold by taking out these guys. So you can kind of, whenever you have a bit of a spare moment during a wave, you can jump off and farm some gold. But also killing this guy gives us a chest key just here. So I'll grab that, unlock the chest. We got ourselves some new loot, some crafting components, and a bunch of gold. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to use my teleport ability to get back as quickly as possible. And you can see some of these guys, oh, it looks like our werewolves are doing a good job of holding them off just here. Except some of them have broken through. This one just here has broken through. Actually, a lot of them are breaking through. So what I'm going to try and do is this character I'm just using here, there are 3 different classes. Maybe only 2 implemented at the moment. I've only tested 2 so far. But this mercenary character just here, he charges up his rage meter by attacking. It's kind of Diablo 3 Barbarian style. And then he can unleash his rage by using his different abilities. So I can use that teleport to freeze enemies just there. And I'm having a bit of a hard time getting... I think I should be able to... The good thing about these mobs just here is that these mobs will go for me if I'm nearby. So you can kind of distract them by getting into fights with them, and that will slow them down. Some mobs will ignore you and prioritize going for towers, some will ignore you and prioritize going to destroy your gateway. So you kind of have to prioritize different targets, like if something's going to run straight by and get to your gateway. If we lose any points, we won't get a 3-star rating, so we'll try and play this as perfectly as possible here. So far, so good. Our 3 werewolves have done a really good job of holding them off, and they bought us a lot of time. If these guys weren't here, we would have killed that boss, got back, and have taken some damage to our gateway. So that was it was a good decision to put those werewolves. I quite like these guys. I've put a lot of points into upgrading them so that I can put a lot of different upgrades on them inside of missions. There's also passive upgrades you can get that always apply, but a lot of the upgrades that you kind of unlock must be actually purchased with essence in games. So you can see different enemies here. They will attack us. We have health, we have potions, so you do need to watch out. You can be killed. It doesn't really seem like there's any real penalties to dying. You get teleported back to the start, so you can kind of lose some ground there, and you lose a bit of time if you do get killed. I'm not sure if that's something they'll flesh out a bit more. But we got 401 essence in that match there, which is pretty good. What I'm going to do is going to upgrade the vulnerability here again. We should check to see if spawn points have changed. Yes, there's an additional spawn point over here now. So although we could continue clustering our defenses here, that might not be the best idea because there's actually another spawn point back here. I am going to grab another gun sentry here with a slow effect. That'll just slow down some enemies. Maybe we'll give that the AoE actually so that it'll slow groups of enemies and not just single targets. But now that we have enemies spawning over here, we kind of want to build some defenses somewhere where it's going to help defend against all of these different routes. So you can see there's red lines going through here. I'm going to grab myself another gun sentry here. We'll grab some AoE. I'll grab some damage. I'll really upgrade this one quite a lot. And then this one here, it looks like everyone passes over this one, so I'm gonna have a kill point here. I'm gonna put down a spear trap and upgrade the damage as much as I can. So there's 30% increased damage on a spear trap. So this is kind of our last line of defense here. Well, there's another tower there we can get maybe, but hopefully that's enough to hold us off. Now we've gotten the chest over on the right hand side. I do happen to know of another chest that's actually over this way. I should just use the teleporter though. There we go. So we have these ink portals we can use to get around, which is quite handy. If you don't use them, you will be overrun very quickly because it takes quite a long time to run around the map otherwise. Some of the maps are quite large, like this one here is quite large. Some of them are much more smaller and more traditional tower defense style, so there's a bit of a mixture of both. But we have a few more wolves here to kill in another tower, so I'm going to open the next wave just here. And then I'll try and use some of my abilities when we get back this time. I didn't do that last time. Didn't really need to in the last wave, but we will need to in subsequent waves. So it looks like I got another ring, so I'll be able to check out this gear at the end of this mission, or I can equip it during the mission as well. Okay, so it looks like these werewolves are going to do a good job here. I can use, if I feel like I'm getting overrun a bit, I can boost all of my traps' effectiveness by using the Touch of Death curse, which causes everything to take more damage. But so far I think we're doing okay. Oh, we've got quite a large fella here. I'm going to try and focus him down there. And that way my werewolves will do a better job of kind of like distracting this entire group. We'll just help out where we need to. It looks like there's some large waves coming through here. I can use my teleport as kind of an AoE ability there. Against weaker large horde groups like that, the teleport is quite effective. I can actually kind of wait here. Looks like my werewolves are going down, unfortunately. Can I give them any upgrades? I'm going to upgrade their health a bit here. So that'll apply the next time they spawn, which... not sure, there is a timer on the spawn, but I think they might have to also die first, so I can probably just let that one die. But, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade the damage on that tower, and I'm going to use a vulnerability curse here. So this tower should do a really good job of holding off all these guys now with its damage boosted, and with enemies taking more damage as well. Now, I need to generate some more rage, so it's a good idea to be constantly attacking. The other character I played was kind of a sorceress, and she functioned quite differently. She had a typical mana sort of setup for her skills. And she had, like, obviously her spells and stuff that she could use were quite different. I found she was a little bit more varied than the Mercenary, but the Mercenary has some nice stuff that synergizes well with mechanical traps that I quite like. So I've had a good playthrough on this guy here. It's quite a large wave just there. I'm going to teleport. Oh, that was an excellent teleport. You see, I just wiped all of their health down to half. Now, the same thing. I'm going to boost the damage here. Our cooldowns are off, so we can do that. Actually, it might have been a good idea to boost the damage of our werewolves. So, if you boost the damage on the trap there, it'll boost the damage of all 4 werewolves, so it can be quite effective. But we managed to successfully defend that wave quite well. Now that we've gotten most of the actual treasure on the map, we can just farm a few of the extra wargs around here. So what I'll do is I'll probably start off near some of these wargs and then run back over. Now you'll notice that a lot more areas have opened up here on this map. Because this is a wide open map, you kind of can't cluster your defenses too much. You need to balance things out quite a bit. Thankfully, we have a very nice strong point just here. This is actually a trap booster just here, which is, you can see it's an enhancer beacon, which which boosts our other trap damage by 50%. So what we want to do here is then grab that, and I'm going to focus as many damage-based traps as I can. So I'm going to get a Frost Pillar here, which has a slowing single target beam. This is great against bigger lumbering targets and like the final wave boss, for example. So I'm going to grab that there. I'm going to grab a Lava Grill, and the Disorient prevents them from using skills, but they can still move, so I don't find that too useful, but I will take the Ignite to give a bit of extra damage. And I'll take a Spike Trap as well, and then I'll upgrade the damage on that. Nope, we're out of essence, so I guess not. Okay, I think I might kill these wargs over here on this wave, and then try and run back as quickly as possible. So I can kill this one, so you can kind of plan this out a bit, because you can see the silhouettes of where they'll spawn. And this one here, and this will give us a bit of extra golden XP. So let's take that one out there. That's 23 gold. I don't think these guys give you any essence, otherwise, if they did give you some essence, you could probably farm those to be able to put some more towers down as well. That could be an interesting strategy. But at the moment, it's kind of just an extra bonus, and it's a temptation that has, you know, caused me to suffer in the past. And that is, as I was mentioning earlier, the reason I haven't got 3 stars on this map yet is because I always let things through because of the temptation of going and getting that loot. So I'm just keeping an eye on the mini-map right now, just kind of watching where things might be getting through. I think we'll be okay here. These guys are going to run through the lava grills. It's not a good idea to stand off to the side like here, because you can see I drew him away from the lava grill. So you want to position yourself pretty cleverly. If that guy's ran now here, there's a chance he would try and go back to the path, but there's a chance he would miss those traps. So you can use this to your advantage though, and draw extra mobs onto traps sometimes. Now this guy just here has a big aura that enhances the armor of his allies, so we need to focus fire him. Now this is actually pretty bad here. I'm going to boost the damage, try and take out this guy. Alright, that's good. So you got to really pay attention to things like that, because things like that can cause a large horde of enemies to very quickly overrun your towers. It gets quite gory, as you can see, which if you guys saw the trailer, I had a trailer up on my channel before, and they've posted 2 trailers, I believe, that were quite gory as well, so there's a little bit of gore in there. It's funny because like the environment's all so beautiful and detailed, and then all of a sudden there's just like explosion of gibs and guts. Alright, so there we go, that freeze there is going to be pretty helpful. I'm quite tanky at this point. I've gotten pretty decent gear, so I should be able to take out these guys with no problems whatsoever. Now, it looks like all 4 of our werewolves over there are still alive, so we're fine there. However, we do want to take out this guy. Otherwise, he's going to be causing some problems. I've actually stopped him, and his allies have moved forwards out of his aura, which is quite good because I'm going to have to use a potion here. I'm taking quite a bit of damage off this guy. You can actually dodge this guy's attacks if I was paying a bit more attention. He does a big kind of like ground slam thing, and you can actually sidestep that if you're playing reasonably well. And Spike Trap, yes. Now you can see that each enemy killed grants essence. There's some upgrades you can get and abilities you can get. I know my Sorceress had an ability that did this, that allow you to get extra essence for kills in certain ways. So you can focus on a certain trap and boost the amount of essence that will farm. So you can try and ensure that all kills will happen on that trap, giving you a lot of extra essence, and that allows you to build more towers and, you know, be more defensive. And I imagine in some of the harder difficulties in the later tiers will require strategies like that where you're farming more essence, because you know, the default amount of essence you get might not be enough. So oh, a heavy mallet, nice. Let me check that out. So there is quite a bit of strategy to sort of be employed there. There's also perks like gain additional XP for kills you get, so you can actually focus on your killing potential and kind of neglect your towers a little bit if you want to play it a bit more like an action RPG. So my current one is extra damage against giant creatures and armor piercing, which is great for killing bosses, so I think I'll probably stick with that one. Did find a ring there which has got some crit chance. I'm a very physical focused build, so I'll stick with my physical ring for now. Looks like no upgrades just yet. Yeah, no upgrades. I could potentially do with some of these enhancer rune upgrades though, which, you know, these do interesting extra effects. So this one has mechanical floor traps and summon traps, which I have quite a bit of synergy with, so that's pretty good. It's also got some discounts for trap upgrades. This one here is quite useless because I don't use the steel arrows, the archer post. And minus build cost for summon traps is, you know, reasonably helpful. Okay, so now we want to upgrade our defenses as much as possible. This is going to be our last sort of line of defense here. I'm not going to bother with AoE because this will be just killing kind of strays that get through. I will give it a slow effect and damage boost though. Now, if I upgrade my towers more outside of this mission, I'll be able to get more damage on that, but for now, that's all I can get. The Disorient's not too helpful. The damage on the Spike Trap could be very helpful. What else can we get here that could be useful? I think this Spike Trap can do with a bit more damage. How is this one? This one's fully upgraded. Looks like maybe a lightning pillar could be helpful here. Let's grab that. So that lightning pillar is kind of like an AoE, and the functionality of this that's quite interesting is over time it recharges these kind of charges, which can stack like 5 or something of them, and it will use those charges to apply an extra AoE ability, so it can target an extra target. So essentially, if you're holding enemies in a group and they're not getting through, if they're trickling through, this thing's not going to be very effective. But if they come through in groups, it's going to be more effective. So that kind of becomes an interesting strategy, and it'll work quite well with these guys here, because these guys will hold off enemies around here and around here, which means that this thing can charge up, and then when they do get through, the charges will wreck them. And you can see all the charges flying around it now. So I think we can still afford a few more upgrades, so I'm kind of just going to want to do whatever I can here to thin the herds, I guess, a bit. That's fully upgraded. Let's upgrade this one as well. And I'll put a freeze trap here, which is going to slow some enemies, and it also gives physical vulnerability as well, which will synergize nicely with those. And I can afford something else. I'll get a frost pill, which is just going to slow another single target. But looks like that's about it. I'm going to start off this one by killing just one warg here. I want to play this safely and get my 20 out of 20. This map looks a little bit easy here for me now, if you're wondering why. It's because I've played this one quite a few times now, and I think I've worked out the strategy, guys. I think I've sorted it out now. Alright, so here comes the waves. Now, a smart thing to do would have been checking out the wave info and seeing that this guy's a giant, which is vulnerable to concentrated traps, seeing his abilities and stuff like that. But I'm already quite familiar with this map, so I don't really need to do that. Alright, looks like a few might be getting through here. Oh, no. Oh, yes. But our final tower probably would have taken those out, so that went pretty well. Our damage focus here with the damage boosting trap, you can see it absolutely destroys, and they take a lot of damage from this stuff just here, and then the spike trap's been finishing them off, which is quite good. Alright. The unfortunate thing about that pillar was that it wasn't targeting the big single target that it should be, and that's kind of just... You can kind of assist it a bit. I think the best way to do that would probably be to have something like a grill trap here that kills off all the minions, the horde minions, and then before it, so maybe putting a... Oh, what's this one? This is actually a monster trap. Can I like quickly upgrade that? Oh yes, yes. Let's get some more werewolves. That will actually help over this side quite a bit. But yeah, having something like a grill trap before that would help it kind of thin out the hordes so that it can focus on its single target. So you're probably kind of getting a sense of some of the different strategies you can employ. And I think the tower defense aspects have been pretty well fleshed out from the previous games. They weren't this in-depth in the previous games, that's for sure. Okay, let's head on up here. Nice teleport. Just trying to lay out as much damage as I can. I do need to keep my rage up though, in case... Oh, there's a lot getting kind of past here. Let's take out these guys here. Ooh, a bit close. A bit close. Some of these fast ones can kind of catch you off guard. Now I farmed up a bit of extra essence here, so what can I do with this? Let's put an icicle trap here, which will sort of just slow anything else. I might as well just spend the essence. There are some like achievements and unlocks that you can get by spending only half of the available essence. Oh, I need to take out this guy. I'm actually going to boost the damage of that because it is a target. It is attacking the right one. Yeah, there's some. What was I totally forgot what I was saying because of this guy. It threw me off. Well, let's focus this guy down just there. So I boosted the damage of that tower there, which was helpful. So far, so good. We still have the boss and a few more, another wave to come through. But I think we're doing pretty well here. Let's take that one. Those guys are going to get frozen. Looks like we're going okay. You can see the extra charges being used over there to take out extra minions. Unfortunately, most of them seem to be going the right side, away from the tower. Alright, how are we looking now? Alright, looks like the boss is coming through. I think we've got this, guys. I haven't taken any damage yet. And I think I am pretty confident in my ability to handle the boss. Now this boss is a summoner. It summons these things, which will kind of like cause quite a bit of havoc with your traps, and they can get through. So we need to be careful with dealing with these adds. So I'm going to try and deal with these adds as much as I can. Then I'm going to try and damage the boss whenever I can. Alright, so I've dealt with most of those adds. Those shouldn't make it through the tower there. So let's deal with this guy here. Let's deal with the forest demon. Alright, let's teleport here. Slowing and damaging and killing that other ad, just with a little bit of AoE. That's like my only AoE skill that I have on this character. So I have to use it as best I can. But it's also good because it's a movement skill as well. Alright, now we've got the Frost Ray on him as well, and our high damage turret. I'm going to boost the damage. Oh no, I boosted the damage of the wrong thing. I mistargeted. Oh well. I'm going to give him a physical vulnerability curse. Everything's firing. Actually, let's draw him forwards a little bit here so that he goes onto the acid geyser. And this is going to be wrecking him. Everything's coming together here. Nice. GG. That's the level. And we got the 20 out of 20. Perfect. I also found a new item there. And there's our 3 stars. And for doing that, we unlocked some extra research points as well, which we can use to upgrade our traps. And, ooh, I found a trap upgrade rune here, which allows us to build Mystic Town traps for a little bit cheaper. Yeah, that's good. I'll switch that out there. Not bad. Oh, do I need to actually switch that outside of the mission? Let's leave the map. You can switch normal gear. Maybe you can't switch runes. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay, you can't switch runes inside, I suppose. Okay, oh, that makes sense, because otherwise you'd be able to switch them just before building the traps. So, there we go, we got our 3 stars, and I've gotten 3 stars across most of the missions now. I've got to do it on these 2 still. But we unlocked some research points, and you can see there's a lot of different options here, and you'll see how there's different upgrade choices for each of the things. So, for example, I was getting 2 extra meter radius on the towers as an AoE. I can upgrade that to 3, so we can potentially upgrade that to 3. Or I can get extra passives that like increase the range of the towers, for example. As you can see, I've put a lot of upgrade points into my werewolves here because I quite like them. I can get a passive that has a small chance of spawning a mutated, stronger version, so that can be interesting there. Or you can increase the respawn timer or decrease the respawn timer. There's a lot of different options here, and you can spend these research points you get from getting high rankings in these different missions to upgrade these. Now, to unlock extra options, you need to complete different maps. Because there's only 5 maps, I can't get any further than this for now. But to unlock extra traps, to be able to actually build them, you need to do certain things. They're kind of like mini achievements, which is kind of cool. But to unlock this trap, kill 500 undead enemies with floor traps, you know, ignite, deal some fire damage, finish your level without spending 50% of the total available essence. So there's a lot of different things you can do to unlock each of these things. Remember, to unlock the archers, I had to get like 100 crits or something like that. So a few different choices there. And then on the same token, as you level up your character, you can upgrade your different skills, get different effects to the different skills, or upgrade passives and things like that as well. Standard sort of ARPG fare. In addition to that, there is a shop which you can spend the gold that we farmed up there. There's a special offer on a plate armor at the moment, which has nothing that I really want. I'll keep my magic finding one. There is a new weapon available though. Ooh, that's not bad. High base damage, all resistance, poison damage bonus. I think I still like my armor piercing boss killer though. I think I'll keep that. But oh, we do have summon trap discount. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna get that because that's actually a nice upgrade for me there. Because I do like those summon traps, and that means I can upgrade those for cheaper and also build them for cheaper, which saves me some total overall essence. So that's it for the core game for now. As you can see, there are still a lot of features to come. It is very early. This game literally just came out in early access like 2 weeks ago or something like that. But if I go out into the main menu here, I can show you just a few more things before we leave. You'll see that there is cooperative mode. I haven't been able to test this just yet, but I'm not sure how that functions, but maybe that's something I can explore in the future. And there is a versus mode coming soon again. And again, I don't know how that's going to function. It could be like one of those tug-of-war style things, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out too. So multiplayer is coming. There is also a map editor which does exist in the game. Already I've played around with this a little bit. I can load up this map here, edit selected map. And I just create a very basic one, but basically you can add floor, you can add ground, you can add, you know, extra spawn points. You can then add like different paths. So I need to select this path just here and then select that. Hold on. I'm terrible. But I still need to learn how to use it a bit more. But you can put like different trap points and build like your own custom maps. So that should be pretty nice for the longevity of the game, including modifying all of the different waves and everything that spawns. So you can change, you know, basically anything you want about each of these different maps and then test them out and things like that. So hopefully you guys found this first look pretty interesting. I had a bit of fun with the game. There's only kind of a couple hours of gameplay in it at the moment, but if this is something you'd like to support the development of, you can check out the early access program and obviously help the developers fund the development of this game. Otherwise, it might just be something that you guys want to keep an eye on if you're a fan of kind of action RPGs and tower defense games, or if you're a tower defense game addict, like I know some of you guys are. You might want to keep an eye on it. But anyway, that's it for now. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.